say my opinion about why Tesla has to go, or the benefits of Tesla going private. There's a lot of discussion, right? Just a disclaimer: I own some of the Tesla shares, right? Retail investor. Okay, so I think I'm just to put it out there. I'm a pro for Tesla going private. Okay, why? Because when people like Elon Musk like that, he has a really long-term vision, and he's like basically an engineer, and I'm an engineer. If you want to build something, um, it's kind of difficult if you get distracted uh, by a different interest that doesn't really align with your interests. Like Elon Musk, his interest is just to make the transition the renewable energy, right? To make that to accelerate the transition to renewable energy. So he's building all of these building blocks that needed to fulfill that mission, right? That the batteries, which is now basically, from what I understand, is like the number one um, with regard to the battery technology, is the best battery technology up to date. He builds the electronic vehicle car, which is the Tesla motors, right? He built the power walls also, right? Which is basically for like independent home grid self generation electricity for houses. For I think right now is for residential only, but who knows in the future. Well, right now also they have it for also for commercial, which is like in Hawaii, or in Australia, and I think some part, I'm not sure with other parts of the world, but I'm sure about Hawaii, and in China they built, sorry, Australia, they built this massive um, uh, grid system that uses utilize the power wall or the battery technology from Tesla. So he built, of course, the charging station for the Tesla, like every, like, I don't know, 100 miles or 200 miles there's like at least one. um, and he also builds, of course, the capability of the self driving capabilities, and this is really interesting, right? So all of those small building blocks is like a Lego block trying to build a house, and each of those blocks are really important. And the way I see it, for each of the blocks, the battery, the 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 grid, uh, um, like the one in Australia, the one in Hawaii, the electric car, and then the self-driving. We'll talk about it. At least from these three perspectives, uh, is like number one. We can argue that, but from what I understand, is the best technology out there, right? Um, and not to mention inside the car, the Tesla car itself, there are so many things that has a very cutting edge technology, like the how Tesla built the dashboard is just from scratch. So take away all of those instruments that are not necessary, and you just put in like one big giant screen, and everything is just like a Zen, kind of thing that, right? It's just like a very peaceful dashboard and just big giant screen to control everything. And from what I understand, everything, the chip that's controlling all of the system are really integrated. From what I heard from the YouTube videos, somebody like tear down all of these components like into pieces, and he said it's one of the most like advanced, like and it's very well built. It's like the way it's built is like very efficient, very all well integrated, all of the chips and design. And Tesla also has projects, accounting projects to build their own AI chip, or we call it the artificial intelligence chip. Right now, I think Tesla is still using the NVIDIA graphics card, right? To use it for the deep learning capabilities for the car to be able to drive on its own. Um, so there's a lot of things that building blocks that are being built right now, or some of them already like almost done, like almost the battery technology is like probably like 80% there. It's like and it's already the best. Like the self-driving capabilities is still probably I would say I don't know probably 50% done. Still probably take another 3 more years, 2 more years. I don't know. Who knows? But from what I understand, the data collected it's huge compared to like Waymo, like which is probably the closest in terms of the data collected from the street. From what I understand, it's like in a number of billions, like 15 billions of miles, something like that. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 100x of what I think what Waymo has already accumulated. And while Waymo is already doing their own like simulation, but what I think Tesla has an edge here is they take from the real world, right? Instead of the simulation in the computer, but Tesla the approach or the advantage is taking from the real world instead of from the computer, and that's I think in the long term I think um, Waymo might win in the short term, but in the long term, I think Tesla will have an edge because it's a real world data instead of just a simulation from the computer. Uh, and because real world data is messy, and there's so many things that's unpredictable. In the computers, probably the computers can simulate something that's unpredictable, but those unpredictable in the computer is still kind of within a domain, within like a structure, it cannot go out from there. Well, outside the world, it's can go out from that structured. I'm not sure you understand this, but okay. So going back, I'm going off tangent here. Why Tesla? The benefits of Tesla going to profit. So because all of these projects, right, take a long term and take a lot of investment, and you need to like concentrate there, right, if you want to do well. And I think going public, there is of course there's a benefits, but there's also a distraction because you have to fulfill the obligations as a public company. Just think of it like this: if you are let's say I don't know, if you're building something, right, like a project in your house, or if you're an engineer, you're building something, but every like I don't know, every like month, every 2 months, you have to spend resources to respond to to respond to the public, or to do something that outside that project, right? So and then you need to spend a lot of resources and time, because you need to spend, like for example, time to about the financial statement, about the progress that you make, about like um, the improvement that you have made, but all of those things that you need to prepare takes a kind of could, I think, in my view, because I could be biased because I'm an engineer, it's 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 kind of misled you to do something that out of your interest, right, outside of your project. And because of that, I think Elon Musk felt this is like not good for the company, for the long term of the company. So he decided to, okay, probably it's better to go private, right? And then he tweeted that he got the fund secured. um, you know I do not really know about the details, but from what I heard, the Saudi Arabian like fund already like funded some of the Tesla ownership, right? And which just makes sense from the Saudi Arabian fund point of view, because they want to be able to diversify, right? Because the future is not going to be just from oil, like the energy generation, but it's also from the battery, and could be like in the next probably 10, 20 years could be like the opposite, right? Probably like 80% of the or 60% of the generation comes from the battery, right? And then the oil could be only just like 10% or something like that. So, uh, and that's to answer some of the people who thinks why would the Saudi Arabian want to like kill themselves by like funding Tesla. If I were like in a the Saudi Arabian the ownership of the Saudi Arabian fund, I would do the same thing too, right? Because I know the world is changing, and because of technology, right? And I have this tons of money, and why would I use it for? Then I have to like fund something that's I think is going to be like in the future many people will use it instead of just be complacent in a status quo, right? So I would do that. So that's to answer some of the questions about why would they like kill themselves. I don't think they would. In my view, they are not killing themselves because they want to stay alive. They have to do that. Otherwise, they will kill themselves. They will just stay in the same industry, and the other thing, I listen to a lot of like podcasts from this. I don't know if you heard about Mark Andreessen, right? He is the Netscape, the founder of Netscape, and he is like a venture capitalist, very well known in Silicon Valley. He also that famously used this term software is eating the world. So basically, I've been listening to him to his talk and so forth. What he's saying that we have a crash, two crash, right? In the from 2002 until now, which is the 2000 crash, which is the internet crash, right? And then the 2008 crash, which is or 2009 crash, which is the financial crash. So because of that crash, the public, or so to speak, the financial market or the Wall Street in general, or the public in the U.S., they have this trauma, right? And because of that, they don't like. They are very how do you know, skeptical about public company, especially those public companies who cannot generate profit immediately. Because they've been through the crash, 2000 crash, which is the internet bubble, right? The internet company just building stuff, spending money, but it's based on equity, it's not based on debt, right? And then suddenly it crashed, right? So they're thinking, okay, what the heck, right? And then they trust again probably at 2009, yeah, the financial crisis, which is the debt crisis, because many of the banks just keep on lending money, right? So it's like the opposite. One first is the equity bubble, and this is the debt bubble, right? Keep on lending money, and then people cannot afford to pay, and then it crashed again. So so the public kind of fed up, kind of like trauma, like afraid. What is this like stock is doing, right? This public company is doing. They're like going up, and then just like and then suddenly just crash, and um, so and they are already, some of them are already like making money, and if you think about it, like the tech companies like the Amazon, like Apple, Facebook, Google, right? Especially like Amazon, the first I think 14 years, Amazon also doesn't make money, right? If you look at like right now Apple, the PE ratio of Apple is only like 16, 17, the price earning ratio, which is very low for a very profitable company. So many the general sentiment, the one I got from hearing Mark Anderson is, and I believe that that public company are being like I don't know, attacked all the time, that they have to make money, so they are not in a bubble, because they are afraid of this bubble keep on happening again, like bubble crash, right? So that's why there's this sentiment. And then if you look at the data, the number of public companies now and compared to number of public companies, let's say 20 or 30, 40 years ago, it's like half, I think it's like from like I don't know. What I know is half, but it could be like from 4,000 before or from 3,000 now it's only 1,500. Okay, um, but the number of public companies drastically reduced. So many of the companies right now they just stay want to become private because of this pressure that many of the people doesn't like, especially the tech companies. So because of that sentiment and because of the underlying that vision that Elon Musk has, and because from what I understand as being an engineer to build something, it's really hard and it takes a long time, and you cannot just show profit like in the first years, first 2 years, first 3 years. No, sometimes it takes like 20 years, yeah, to do that. Um, and and if the public company doesn't like that, yeah, then it's gonna be misaligned, right? I mean, the public wants like just short term, but as a private company, Elon Musk wants long term. So there is no alignment there, right? That's why you have this clash all the time, right? With the journalists, with the Wall Street, they are confused of how to view Tesla, how to evaluate Tesla. Even the so-called critics also they're confused how whether Tesla should be like a long term or short term or and it's the fact that Tesla also is like the number one company in the U.S. that has the most shorted stocks. So that says something about it, right? Many people think about this Tesla is just like what do you call that? Rich people toys. Look, I don't have a Tesla car, okay? I cannot afford it, but I believe in the vision, so I believe in I got some stocks from of Tesla. So yeah, so that's my reason. Um, First is yeah, the misalignment. Yeah. So if you, I'm gonna hold. I'm not gonna sell it. That's if that's what you're asking me, right? So if you are a Tesla stockholders, I would suggest you do the same. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research. This is not a any suggestion to hold or to buy or to sell any Tesla stock, but it's just my view. Um, Let me know what you think. Thank you for listening.